Have you ever wondered why some people seem naturally drawn to financial opportunities while others struggle to see them? Recent neuroscience research suggests the answer might lie in how our brains are programmed during sleep. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating science behind sleep based learning and examine three documented case studies of individuals who experience significant financial mindset shifts using frequency based sleep programming. This isn't about quick fixes or magic solutions. It's about understanding how our brains actually work and how we can optimize them for better decision making. We'll dive into the neuroscience of sleep learning, examine the research on specific frequencies, and analyze real world applications through detailed case studies. To understand how sleep programming works, we need to first examine what happens in your brain during different sleep stages. During wakefulness, your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second through your conscious awareness. However, during sleep, something remarkable happens. Research conducted at Harvard Medical School and MIT has shown that during sleep, particularly during slow-wave sleep and REM phases, your brain enters what neuroscientists call a heightened plasticity state. This is when your neural pathways are most malleable and receptive to new pattern formation. Dr. Matthew Walker's research at UC Berkeley demonstrates that during sleep, your brain consolidates memories, processes emotions, and most importantly for our discussion, forms new neural connections without the interference of your conscious critical thinking processes. The 528 Hz frequency, often called the love frequency in sound therapy research, has been studied for its potential effects on cellular repair and neural activity. Research by Dr. Leonard Horowitz and others suggests that this frequency may promote DNA repair and enhance cellular function, though more peer-reviewed studies are needed to fully understand these mechanisms. What's particularly interesting is how the brain's default mode network, the same network active during meditation and creative insights, becomes highly active during certain sleep phases. This network is responsible for self-referential thinking, future planning, and what researchers call insight generation. When we combine these natural sleep processes with specific auditory stimuli, we're essentially working with your brain's existing optimization systems rather than against them. Let's examine our first case study. Sarah, a 34-year-old marketing professional, participated in a self-directed experiment using 528 Hz frequency exposure during sleep over a 6-week period. Sarah's baseline measurements showed typical patterns of financial anxiety and risk-averse decision-making. She had been in the same position for 2 years despite having the qualifications for advancement. Her protocol involved listening to 528 Hz tones for 8 hours nightly, while maintaining a sleep journal and tracking her daily decision-making patterns and confidence levels in professional situations. Within the first week, Sarah reported increased clarity in problem solving and what she described as seeing solutions that were always there but I never noticed before. This aligns with research on enhanced pattern recognition following optimized sleep cycles. By week 3, her confidence in presenting ideas had increased significantly. She began volunteering for projects she previously would have avoided and started speaking up in meetings with innovative solutions. The outcome was a promotion with a $15,000 salary increase. But from a research perspective, what's more interesting is the documented change in her cognitive patterns and decision-making processes. Her case suggests that consistent sleep optimization may enhance what psychologists call opportunity recognition, the ability to identify and act on beneficial circumstances. Our second case study involves Michael, a small business consultant who had plateaued at the same revenue level for 3 years, despite working longer hours and implementing various business strategies. Michael's approach differed from Sarah's in that he combined the 528 Hz frequency exposure with pre-sleep visualization exercises, essentially creating what cognitive scientists call targeted memory reactivation during sleep. His documented protocol included 10 minutes of business scenario visualization before sleep, followed by 8 hours of frequency exposure. He maintained detailed records of his creative insights, business ideas, and implementation success rates. The results were measurable. Within 4 weeks, Michael had developed 2 new service offerings that directly addressed previously unrecognized market gaps. His client acquisition improved, and his confidence in sales situations increased dramatically. By week 6, his monthly revenue had tripled. However, from a research standpoint, the most significant finding was the documented increase in what business psychologists call entrepreneurial alertness, the cognitive ability to notice and act on business opportunities. Michael's case demonstrates how sleep optimization might enhance creative problem solving and strategic thinking capabilities, skills that are crucial for business success but difficult to develop through traditional training methods. Our third case study examines Jennifer, a single mother dealing with $8,000 in credit card debt and the associated financial stress that was impacting her sleep quality and decision making abilities. Jennifer's case is particularly interesting because it demonstrates the relationship between stress reduction and improved financial decision making. Her initial sleep quality scores were poor and her stress hormone levels were elevated, which research shows can impair executive function and long-term planning abilities. Her protocol focused on stress reduction through frequency exposure, with the hypothesis that improved sleep quality would lead to better financial decision making. She used 528 Hz frequencies specifically during the first 2 hours of sleep when cortisol regulation is most active. The documented changes were significant. Her sleep quality improved within 2 weeks, which correlated with increased mental clarity and energy during the day. This led to improved job performance and additional income opportunities. More importantly, her approach to financial problems shifted from reactive to strategic. She began identifying money-saving opportunities and even discovered she was eligible for tax credits and insurance refunds totaling over $6,000. Within 2 months, she had eliminated her debt entirely. Jennifer's case illustrates how stress reduction and improved sleep quality can enhance cognitive function and decision-making abilities, leading to better financial outcomes through improved mental clarity rather than any mystical process. These case studies, while anecdotal, align with several established areas of neuroscience research. The mechanisms at work appear to involve multiple systems working in concert. First, there's the well-documented relationship between sleep quality and cognitive function. Poor sleep impairs executive function, decision-making, and creative problem-solving, all crucial skills for financial success. Second, research on frequency-specific auditory stimulation during sleep shows promise for enhancing memory consolidation and neuroplasticity, though more controlled studies are needed to establish definitive causal relationships. Third, the stress reduction component cannot be overlooked. Chronic financial stress elevates cortisol levels, which research shows can impair the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for planning, decision-making, and impulse control. What these cases suggest is that by optimizing sleep quality and potentially enhancing neuroplasticity through specific frequency exposure, individuals may experience improvements in the cognitive skills that directly impact financial decision-making. The 528 Hz frequency specifically has been studied for its potential effects on stress reduction and cellular repair, though the mechanisms are not yet fully understood by the scientific community. It's important to note that these results likely stem from a combination of factors: improved sleep quality, stress reduction, enhanced cognitive function, and possibly placebo effects that increase confidence and motivation. For those interested in exploring these concepts, it's important to approach this scientifically and maintain realistic expectations. The research suggests that any benefits likely come from optimizing your natural sleep processes rather than from any magical properties of specific frequencies. Good sleep hygiene remains the foundation: consistent sleep schedule, dark environment, comfortable temperature, and minimal disruptions. If you choose to experiment with frequency exposure, treat it as one component of overall sleep optimization, not a standalone solution. Keep detailed records of your sleep quality, stress levels, and decision-making patterns to track any changes objectively. Remember that financial success involves many factors: education, opportunity, economic conditions, and personal circumstances. Improved cognitive function and stress reduction can certainly help, but they're not guaranteed solutions to financial challenges. The most important takeaway from these case studies is the demonstrated connection between sleep quality, stress levels, and cognitive performance. Whether you use frequency exposure or simply focus on better sleep hygiene, optimizing your rest can have measurable impacts on your daily decision-making abilities. Future research in this area should include controlled studies with larger sample sizes, objective measurements of cognitive function, and longer follow-up periods to better understand these relationships. The intersection of sleep science, neuroscience, and financial psychology is a fascinating area of study that's still being explored by researchers worldwide. While these case studies provide interesting insights, they represent individual experiences rather than universal outcomes. The scientific method requires controlled studies and peer review to establish definitive conclusions. What we can say with confidence is that sleep quality significantly impacts cognitive function, stress management, and decision-making abilities, all factors that influence financial outcomes. If you're interested in learning more about sleep science, I recommend exploring the research of Dr. Matthew Walker, Dr. Andrew Huberman, and the Sleep Research Society for evidence-based information about sleep optimization. For those interested in the intersection of psychology and financial decision-making, behavioral economics research by Daniel Kahneman and others provides valuable insights into how our minds process financial choices. Remember, the goal isn't to find shortcuts to success, but to understand and optimize the cognitive tools we already possess. Quality sleep, stress management, and continuous learning remain the most reliable paths to improve decision-making and life outcomes.